There's more to life than your farm, Owen. He needs to see that. There's a whole galaxy out there.
I'm asking you to leave us alone, Ben. I mean it.
Is he okay?
You don't care if he's okay. You care if he's showing.
It's my responsibility, Owen.
Well, I'm his uncle.
We talked about this. When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father?
The first time I got to watch Star Wars, I was pretty blown away. Alec Guinness, as Obi-Wan Kenobi, did some of the most amazing work. To play him as a younger man, I was really excited about it. The first big experience for me was going to the studio where we shot episode 1. The props master brought up a big chest, and he looked me in the eye and he opened it up. And I got to choose Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber.
This is my favorite one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So that was a moment I'll never forget. The first lightsaber work we did was when we fight Darth Maul. That was an amazing thing to be part of. It was incredibly intricate. We were just going so fast.
Action!
It's quite unlike any other filmmaking I've done. The first time I got dressed up as Obi-Wan again, it was a special moment. The wonder of Star Wars and the excitement of playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's really quite something.
Hello there, everyone. Star Wars just dropped a brand new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer video, so we'll break it down. If you're brand new to the channel, I'll be doing videos for all the episodes. Be sure to subscribe to get everything.
I don't know if I'm getting into spoiler territory here. Can I say anything that possibly gets into spoiler territory here?
I'm doing a giveaway for Disney Plus memberships. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just leave your favorite moment from all the trailers so far on the video. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer, this starts with a longer scene of Obi-Wan meeting with Joel Edgerton's Owen Lars and then talking about young Luke Skywalker. They did get all the original actors to come back, so Owen Lars, Beru Lars are played by the same actors from Revenge of the Sith. It just seems like they haven't included any scenes from Beru Lars in the trailers, but they do spend some time on their farmstead with him watching young Luke Skywalker. Even though it does sound like they don't spend that much time on Tatooine, there were a lot of memes posted when people were like, here we go again. We just spent all this time on Tatooine and Boba Fett. We spent all that time during The Mandalorian Season 2. Star Wars going back to Tatooine for the Obi-Wan series, but then Deborah Chow, the director of the series, who did a lot of your favorite episodes of The Mandalorian, did a great job with Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes, said that they only spend a little while on Tatooine at the beginning of the Obi-Wan series, probably at the end too, just to bookend things, like he goes back and eventually starts building his hut that he lives in, because it seems like he lives in a cave at the beginning of this series, because it's only been about 10 years. But Owen Lars burns him so bad during this scene, like you trained his father, like he's throwing Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi's face, like it was his fault. It was kind of his fault, not totally his fault, but a little bit his fault. It's also a really subtle way to show you how Obi-Wan Kenobi actually saw Luke Skywalker at that young age, and apparently he didn't think of him as much as a surrogate father would, like Obi-Wan didn't think of him as a son. He thought of him more as a responsibility or an obligation, like a Jedi Master guarding some really dangerous threat. This is meant to connect with that conversation that older Obi-Wan Kenobi has with an older version of Luke Skywalker during A New Hope, where he explains to him why it was so important that they keep Luke Skywalker and consequently his sister Leia's identity secret from Darth Vader and the Emperor.
A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil, helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights.
A lot of it had to do with what was going on with the Jedi Inquisitors, the Jedi Hunters, but it was mostly because, just in general, what they thought the Emperor would do. They felt like the Emperor would tear the galaxy apart looking for them specifically if he found that they were still alive, because their existence threatened his hold on Darth Vader, which they eventually paid off during Return of the Jedi, where the Emperor's suspicions become true. Darth Vader chooses his family over the Emperor, tries to kill him. Obviously, there was all that controversial stuff they did with his character in the sequel movies, bringing Palpatine back. At least Darth Vader killed his physical body that the Emperor was using at that time. But I think the idea here is that over time in the original trilogy, by later in the timeline, Obi-Wan eventually starts to treat Luke as more of a friend and become a surrogate father figure to him. But at this point in the story, when the series picks up, just 10 years past Revenge of the Sith, he hasn't yet thought of him as family. He's more of an obligation, a burden. Whereas I think they're really slightly trying to do Owen Lars some credit in this clip. Like, he kind of comes off as gruff in the original trilogy, like, why did he hate the Jedi so much? Why didn't he want Luke to be trained?
Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough, but your uncle wouldn't allow it. He feared you might follow old Obi-Wan on some damn fool idealistic crusade like your father did.
They're trying to use this clip to set up the idea that Owen Lars actually did care about Luke and treat him like a son, even if he wasn't getting ready to win any awards for Star Wars Father of the Year. Star Wars, full of bad dads. He at least cared enough about Luke Skywalker to think that avoiding anything Jedi or Force related would help keep him safe, or at least keep him out of trouble. But, as we all know, how wrong he was. Trouble finds Luke Skywalker no matter what. So they're just trying to show you why Owen Lars hated the idea of him being traded as a Jedi so much, and why it seemed like he didn't like Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's not that he hated Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he didn't want him hanging around his farm, making Luke curious about his abilities in the Force. But if you think about the original trilogy and the way that Luke Skywalker talked about him before he actually ran into him later in the film, he did know about his existence, but it sounds like around Tatooine, eventually the locals, including Luke, thought of him more as Old Ben. Like, maybe he's talking about Old Ben, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's that? As if the actual name Obi-Wan didn't get used as much, or he tried to get people to forget about it over time, so he just started calling himself Old Ben, so people wouldn't think that he was this person of interest, and it would just kind of help the secrecy of everything. But the really big thing that the director explained is that during this series, because it's only been about 10 years, when it picks up, Obi-Wan Kenobi does not know that Anakin Skywalker survived on Mustafar. He thought that he died, so even though he did know that he had become a Sith Lord, he was calling himself Darth Vader, or the Emperor was calling him Darth Vader, he walked away at the end of that movie thinking that he had died, so he's been trying to protect Luke Skywalker, keep his existence secret from the Emperor, because he knows the Emperor is still alive. But he doesn't know that this person walking around in this Sith armor is calling himself Darth Vader and is his friend Anakin Skywalker. There's a moment in the trailer where you see him suiting up in his Darth Vader armor, and you see Obi-Wan Kenobi in a different scene seem like he comes to some realization like, oh no. I think they're trying to treat Darth Vader's identity as this big reveal to him during the series. Like, wait a minute, you're the person that the Sith Inquisitors have been talking about? You're my friend Anakin Skywalker? You're still alive? But Darth Vader will know all about Obi-Wan Kenobi still being alive, and finding him will be one of his big missions during the series. When the series picks up, Darth Vader doesn't know where he is, but while they're busy with him sending these Jedi Inquisitors all over the galaxy looking for Force sensitives, he's also, at the same time, really looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. But the way that Hayden Christensen talked about Darth Vader during the series is that he's still building to the height of his power. He's still incredibly angry about the way Revenge of the Sith went down, about the death of his wife, the death of his supposed children, like he thinks that they're still dead. But there are some rumors that during the series, he will feel some pull in the Force, so he will start to think about them maybe still being alive. But I think the idea is that he won't truly learn about their existence until they get closer to the original trilogy. The way they played it in the comics, and this is supposed to be canon, is that he didn't actually learn Luke Skywalker's identity or his existence, like, oh, my son is still alive, until right after A New Hope. They might tweak that just a little bit. He might learn a little bit more about Leia a little bit early on. I think that he doesn't actually confirm Leia's existence and her identity until a little bit after he learns about Luke's identity. But one of the other big rumors is that they do feature a version of young Leia at some point during the series, even though I don't know that she's supposed to be a main character. And for those of you asking about Grogu, because he's about the same age as Anakin Skywalker, he's also still very much alive because he survived Order 66, as we saw during the Book of Boba Fett episodes. Right now in the timeline, Grogu has been hiding his abilities and forgetting about his Jedi teachings, so he's basically off the map, so to speak, in terms of them finding people through the Force. Basically hiding out in the deep Outer Rim, but we don't know exactly which planet he's on at this current point in the timeline. I'm not expecting a ton of references to him, but I'm sure there'll be lots of questions about that. Also about Ahsoka, too. If you didn't watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, at the end of that there was a bit of a time jump that takes place after he's been Darth Vader for a little while. They've transitioned to the new Stormtrooper armor. He winds up finding the lightsabers that he had given back to her earlier in the timeline and thinks that she's dead. So he thinks that Ahsoka is dead at this point in the timeline. The way Rosario Dawson talked about it, though, because they're filming the Ahsoka series right now and they're going to have episodes next year, it sounds like there'll be some sort of flashbacks with Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, or there'll be Force Ghost Anakin Skywalker in present day. So during those episodes, there will be some kind of brand new Hayden Christensen footage in some form or another. We do have Star Wars Celebration happening next week. That's why they delayed the first couple of episodes of Obi-Wan by a day or two, just so that it would be timed with the big Star Wars panel that they have with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor for Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're supposed to get a Mandalorian Season 3 trailer on Saturday. Of course, I'll do a video for that too after I do my episode videos. We've already gotten some footage for the Star Wars Rogue One prequel series. I'll post a link in the description for the trailer video that I did for that, but we might wind up getting some more footage next week. If we do, I will do a new video for it. Because the She-Hulk episodes are supposed to come during the middle of August, I'm assuming that the Star Wars Rogue One Andor series is going to start somewhere towards the end of those episodes. Then after Andor is done, that's when the Mandalorian Season 3 episodes are supposed to start. So that'll either be the very end of this year, like around the same time when the Book of Boba Fett started, or really early in 2023, like in January at some point. I've got a whole bunch of bonus videos planned for Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, all the big characters. If you have any huge questions right now before Episode 1 and Episode 2 air, just write them in the comments below and I'll add them to my bonus videos. Everyone click here for my new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer video, and click here to learn about Marvel's brand new Daredevil series that they're doing. That's right, brand new Daredevil episodes. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.